The scene opens in a bustling airport terminal, filled with the sounds of rolling suitcases and distant announcements. A young black girl named Mia stands in line, her heart racing with excitement as she prepares to board her flight home. However, her moment of anticipation is abruptly interrupted by a flight attendant named Jessica, who approaches her with a stern expression. "Excuse me, ma'am, but your ticket is invalid. Can I see your passport?" Jessica says coldly, her tone sharp. Mia, taken aback and confused, hands over her passport, believing there must be a mistake. She looks around, noticing that other passengers have paused to observe the unfolding drama. Whispers ripple through the crowd as eyes turn toward her, a mix of curiosity and concern evident on their faces. Jessica examines the passport with a critical eye, then declares, "This doesn't look real." The words hang in the air, heavy and accusatory. Before Mia can respond, Jessica rips the passport in half with a swift motion, tossing the torn pieces aside as if they were nothing more than trash. Gasps echo in the terminal, and a few passengers pull out their phones to record the shocking scene. Mia's heart races. She feels a wave of disbelief wash over her. That was her identity, her proof of existence, now reduced to scraps in a stranger's hands. The terminal goes silent, and for a moment, time seems to freeze as the weight of the moment sinks in. If you find yourself standing against injustice and discrimination, we encourage you to hit the subscribe button, like this video, and comment below to share your thoughts on where you're watching from. Mia Johnson, a vibrant 21-year-old, stands confidently in line at the airport, her mind racing with excitement. After spending a semester studying abroad, she is eager to return home and share her experiences with friends and family. She clutches her passport tightly. This journey is not just a flight, it's a significant step in her ambitious career. As the line inches forward, Mia reflects on her past experiences. Despite her confidence, she has often faced subtle prejudices, microaggressions that serve as constant reminders that she doesn't always fit in. These small slights may go unnoticed by most, but for Mia, they accumulate, making her feel increasingly out of place in spaces that should feel welcoming. As she approaches the check-in counter, the luxurious surroundings of the high-end airline should provide her with comfort. However, the atmosphere feels cold and impersonal, the polished marble floors and sharp uniforms only heightening her sense of discomfort. She glances at the flight attendants, all exuding an air of superiority, and her stomach churns slightly. When Mia reaches the counter, she meets Jessica, a tall flight attendant with a perfectly pressed uniform and an authoritative demeanor. Jessica's eyes linger on Mia for just a moment too long, a look of judgment passing over her face. In that moment, Mia senses the invisible barrier that has been erected before her, an assumption that she does not belong in this first-class setting. As Mia hands over her first-class ticket, she hopes for a smooth check-in. Instead, Jessica's demeanor shifts, and her smile fades to a thin line. "I'm sorry, but your ticket isn't in the system," she states bluntly, her eyes fixed on Mia. Mia blinks in surprise, her voice steady but firm as she replies, "I believe there's been a mistake. I checked in online, and my ticket should be valid." Jessica, however, seems uninterested in Mia's explanation. Instead, she gestures for Mia to step aside, her words dripping with disdain. "Maybe if you knew how to properly book a flight and hold a real passport, you wouldn't be causing so many problems," she says loudly enough for nearby passengers to hear. The tension in the air thickens as Mia's heart races, and she struggles to process the blatant disrespect. She feels the stares of other travelers, their shocked expressions mirroring her disbelief. This is more than just a misunderstanding. It's an all-too-familiar narrative of being treated unjustly. Have you ever felt marginalized simply because of who you are? We invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe for more powerful stories like this one. Mia stands at the counter, her mind racing as she processes Jessica's dismissive attitude. "I believe there's been a mistake," she insists, her voice calm but firm, trying to maintain her composure despite the growing tension. The surrounding passengers watch intently, some whispering to each other, while others pull out their phones ready to document the unfolding situation. Jessica, however, remains unmoved. "Your ticket is not valid," she repeats coldly, her tone dismissive. Mia feels a knot tightening in her stomach. This isn't just an error, it's a personal attack. "I checked in online, and my ticket is valid," she replies, her determination rising. But Jessica's expression hardens, and in a shocking display of authority, she declares, "Step aside, you're causing a disruption." The words hang heavily in the air, and Mia feels her heart sink. She can sense the judgment from those around her, their gazes boring into her, amplifying her humiliation. Just as Mia thinks things can't get worse, Jessica's hand shoots out, and with a swift motion, she tears Mia's passport in half, the sound of the ripping paper echoing through the terminal. The crowd gasps collectively, stunned by the blatant disrespect. "Fake passports are a security risk," Jessica mutters, tossing the torn pieces aside like refuse. The air grows thick with shock and disbelief. Mia's heart pounds in her chest as she stares at the remnants of her identity, her breath hitching. This was not just a mistake. This was an act of cruelty. The terminal falls silent, the cacophony of movement and announcements dulled to a whisper. Passengers freeze mid-step. Conversations die on their lips, and the atmosphere shifts from routine travel to an intense, charged moment. "I saw her passport. It looked real." A man finally speaks up from the back, his voice cutting through the silence. Mia's pulse quickens as she realizes that she is not completely alone in this moment. But despite the murmurs of support, she feels the weight of the situation suffocating her. If you're passionate about standing up against injustice, we urge you to click the subscribe button now, like this video, and share where you're watching from in the comments. Your voice matters. Mia steps away from the counter, her legs trembling slightly beneath her. She finds a quiet corner near a row of empty chairs, needing a moment to collect herself. The weight of what just happened presses down on her chest, making it difficult to breathe. Around her, the airport continues its rhythm, but she feels disconnected from it all, as if watching the scene unfold from behind glass. She takes a deep breath, trying to steady her racing heart. This wasn't the first time she had faced discrimination, but the sheer audacity of Jessica's actions had left her reeling. The torn passport, her identity literally ripped apart, was more than just an inconvenience. It was a symbol of the disrespect she had endured throughout her life. Nearby passengers cast sympathetic glances in her direction. An elderly woman shakes her head in disapproval while a young couple whispers to each other, clearly disturbed by what they witnessed. A businessman on his phone pauses his conversation, his brow furrowed as he watches Mia compose herself. As Mia sits, contemplating her next move, a thought flashes through her mind. Her father, Thomas Johnson, is the CEO of this very airline. With one phone call, she could bring the full weight of his influence down on Jessica. The thought is tempting, a quick path to justice that would certainly teach Jessica a lesson she wouldn't forget. But something holds her back. Mia has always been determined to make her own way in the world, to stand on her own merits rather than rely on her family's position. She had worked hard to build her own reputation, to be respected for who she was, not who her father was. "I need to handle this myself," she whispers, her resolve strengthening. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about standing up against a system that allowed people like Jessica to abuse their power. It was about ensuring that no one else would have to endure what she had just experienced. With newfound determination, Mia pulls out her phone, but not to call her father, at least not yet. She begins documenting the incident, making notes of exactly what happened, the names of witnesses, and the time. This wouldn't be swept under the rug. She would make sure of that. Have you ever found yourself at a crossroads between seeking help and standing on your own? We'd love to hear your story in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more powerful narratives that challenge us to reflect on our society. Mia takes a moment to gather her thoughts, the adrenaline still pulsing through her veins. The anger boiling inside her is tempered by a sense of responsibility. She knows she must address what just happened, not just for herself but for everyone who has ever been treated unfairly because of their background. As she sits in the quiet corner, she glances at her phone and sees a missed call from her father, Thomas. He's always been her rock, a powerful figure in the airline industry. The temptation to call him and let him handle the situation is strong. After all, he could easily ensure that Jessica faced consequences for her actions. But Mia hesitates. She doesn't want to be known as the CEO's daughter. She wants to be Mia, someone who stands up for what is right on her own terms. Taking a deep breath, she decides to reach out to the airline's customer service instead. With her hands shaking slightly, she dials the number and waits for someone to pick up. When a representative answers, Mia explains the situation in detail, emphasizing how Jessica's actions were not just unprofessional, but deeply hurtful. "I don't want to escalate this unnecessarily," Mia says, her voice steady, "but what happened today was unacceptable. It's not just about me, it's about accountability for actions that are discriminatory and damaging." As she speaks, she notices that nearby passengers are still glancing in her direction, their expressions a mix of concern and support. Some nod in agreement with her words, while others shift uncomfortably, aware of the injustice unfolding before them. Mia feels a surge of empowerment as she continues her call. This was not just about a torn passport or a denied flight. It was about challenging a culture of bias and standing firm against it. She wants to make sure that no one else feels the way she does at this moment, small, dismissed, and powerless. "Thank you for your attention to this matter," she concludes, her tone resolute. "I expect to hear back from you soon." After hanging up, Mia takes a deep breath, feeling a sense of relief wash over her. She knows she's taken the first step in standing up for herself. This situation is far from over, but she's prepared to face whatever comes next. She won't let Jessica's actions define her or silence her. Have you ever been in a situation where you had to choose between seeking help or standing up for yourself? Share your thoughts in the comments, and be sure to subscribe for more compelling stories that inspire change and resilience. As Mia steps away from the phone call, a wave of determination washes over her. She knows that her father, Thomas, will soon hear about the incident, and she can only imagine how he will react. Meanwhile, the wheels of accountability are already set in motion. The airline's management has been informed, and an internal investigation into Jessica's conduct has begun. In the boardroom of the airline, the atmosphere is tense. Thomas sits at the head of the table, flanked by his executive team. They are reviewing the incident reports and witness statements, and it quickly becomes apparent that this is not an isolated event. One executive speaks up, sharing a troubling history of complaints against Jessica, revealing a pattern of discriminatory behavior that extends beyond Mia. Suddenly, a former flight attendant named Claire, who had previously worked under Jessica, contacts Thomas. Claire's voice trembles as she recounts her own experiences of harassment and prejudice while working alongside Jessica. "She made my life unbearable," Claire explained. "I was often assigned the hardest tasks, and she would belittle me in front of passengers and crew. It got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore, and I had to leave." Thomas listens intently, his expression darkening as he absorbs the weight of Claire's testimony. Then Claire reveals something shocking, a recording she had kept from her time at the airline. In it, Jessica can be heard making disparaging remarks about employees of color, mocking their qualifications and questioning their place in the industry. The room falls silent as the gravity of the situation sinks in. As the recording plays, the executives exchange uneasy glances. Jessica's disdainful comments are unmistakable, and it becomes clear that her actions are part of a larger toxic culture that has been allowed to fester within the airline. Thomas feels a surge of anger. He knows this is not the kind of environment he wants to foster. "It's time we take a stand," he states firmly, his voice cutting through the tension in the room. "We cannot allow this behavior to continue. We need to take immediate action, not just for Mia, but for all our employees and customers who deserve to be treated with respect." As the meeting continues, plans are made to address Jessica's misconduct, with Thomas vowing to implement new training programs focusing on diversity, inclusion, and respect. The investigation into Jessica's actions will ensure that she faces the consequences of her behavior. Mia, unaware of the developments unfolding at the corporate level, is still reeling from the earlier confrontation, yet she feels a sense of empowerment knowing that she has taken a stand. She is ready to see this through, determined to make sure that her experience leads to real change. If you believe in the power of accountability and standing up for what is right, we encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories that shine a light on important issues in our society. As the investigation into Jessica's actions unfolds, Mia remains focused on ensuring that her voice is heard. She is determined to see real change come from her experience, not just for herself, but for everyone who has faced discrimination in the airline industry. The news of the internal proceedings begins to circulate, and the atmosphere at the airline shifts. Employees start to speak up, sharing their own stories of unfair treatment and bias, inspired by Mia's courage. Meanwhile, Jessica is called in for a final meeting with Thomas and the executive team. The atmosphere is heavy with anticipation as she enters the room, her usual confidence replaced by a nervous tension. The executives present the evidence against her, including Claire's recording and numerous witness accounts. They explain that her behavior is not only unacceptable but also has no place in the company.
"I can't believe this is happening," Jessica stammers, her face pale as she tries to defend her actions.
"I was just doing my job." Thomas interrupts, his voice firm. "Your job is to serve our passengers with respect and dignity. What you've done is a violation of our values and has caused harm to others. You will no longer be part of this airline." The decision is made to terminate Jessica's employment immediately, and she is escorted out of the building. The weight of her actions finally catches up with her, and she realizes the consequences of her behavior. As the news of Jessica's termination spreads, Mia feels a sense of relief wash over her. She has not only stood up for herself, but has also contributed to a broader movement within the airline. The company is now committed to creating a more inclusive environment, ensuring that everyone feels valued and respected. Mia's story becomes a catalyst for change, garnering attention from media outlets and advocacy groups alike. People across the country begin to share their own experiences of discrimination in the airline industry, highlighting the need for reform. The airline responds by launching new initiatives focused on diversity training and creating a more inclusive workplace culture. As Mia boards her flight home, she reflects on how far she has come. The experience has transformed her from a passive observer to an active participant in the fight against injustice. She knows that her journey is just beginning, but she feels empowered, ready to advocate for herself and others. "This isn't just about me," she thinks, the smile spreading across her face. "It's about everyone who has ever felt marginalized or unheard." If you believe in the importance of standing up for justice and equality, we invite you to share your thoughts in the comments and join us in this ongoing conversation. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more uplifting stories that inspire change and promote awareness in our society.